My wife said, "You don't even have the right to touch my back." I left without a word. The next day, my wife said, "You don't even have the right to touch my back." I left without a word. The next day, everything changed. It happened on the beach in Marbella. I had only asked to put sunscreen on her. She looked at me like I was a stranger and said, "If you're going to be jealous about everything, just go home." And then she spent the entire day laughing and talking with a man named Diego, right in front of our friends, as if I had never existed. I stayed silent through all of it. That night, I booked a flight home and packed my bags in the hotel room. I slipped away without saying a word to anyone. The next morning, when she finally realized I was gone, what waited for her would be a reality far colder than she could have imagined. I promised myself I wouldn't make it easy for her. I've never been a jealous person. That's just not who I am. But there's a difference between trust and being a fool. And what happened in Marbella made that line impossible to ignore. We had spent months planning this trip with 3 other couples from Madrid, a 5-day escape to paradise. Everyone was excited. The resort was beautiful, the weather flawless. The first 2 days felt perfect. Isabel seemed happy. I was relaxed. Our friends were enjoying themselves. Everything felt right. The turning point came on the 3rd day. That afternoon, we were all stretched out on the beach. The sun blazed overhead. Some people drifted into the water. Others stayed beneath umbrellas. I went to the beach bar to grab drinks for everyone, standing in line for about 15 minutes. When I came back with a tray of margaritas, I noticed Isabel wasn't where I'd left her. I spotted her about 20 feet away, talking to a man I'd never seen before. He was tall, tanned, probably in his 20s. So far, nothing unusual. People talk on beaches all the time, but then she turned her back to him, swept her hair to one side and handed him the sunscreen bottle. He began rubbing it across her shoulders, taking his time, in no hurry at all. I stood there holding the drinks, watching it unfold. Our friends noticed too. Alvaro, one of my closest friends, glanced over at me, waiting to see what I would do. I did nothing, not yet. I walked over and set her margarita beside her beach towel. She looked up at me with a casual smile. "Thanks," she said. The man nodded at me. I nodded back. Then I walked away. But she didn't follow. For the next 3 hours, she stayed with him. They went into the water together. They sat on his beach towel. They talked and laughed like old friends. She never checked her phone, never looked back at me or our friends. It was as if we simply weren't there. Around 2 in the afternoon, I walked over again. I kept my voice calm and asked if she was planning to join us since we had come as a group. That's when she said it. I just asked him to put sunscreen on me. If you're going to be jealous about everything, go home. She said it loud enough for him to hear. He smirked. She laughed too. Not nervously, but dismissively. Our friends were watching from a distance. I could feel their eyes on me, waiting to see if I would explode, if I would argue, if I would beg her to stop embarrassing me. I did none of those things. I looked at her for a few seconds, then I looked at the man. Then I turned around and walked back to our spot. I grabbed my beach towel and told Alvaro I'd catch up with everyone later. I wasn't okay, of course, but I refused to be publicly humiliated by my own wife on a crowded beach. I wouldn't let her play with my emotions anymore. I went back to the hotel room. It was quiet inside. Her things were everywhere. Makeup scattered across the counter. Clothes draped over chairs. Her sandals abandoned by the door. I sat on the edge of the bed for a moment, just thinking. Then I pulled out my phone and changed my flight. There was one leaving for Madrid at 10 that night. I booked it without hesitation. I didn't tell her, I didn't tell anyone. I packed my suitcase, left her belongings untouched, and made sure I had everything I needed. Wallet, passport, phone charger. By 6 in the evening, I had checked out, telling the front desk I had a family emergency. I called a taxi to the airport. By 9, I had cleared security. By midnight, I was dragging my exhausted body back to our apartment in Madrid. My body was drained, but my mind had never been clearer. Around 8 the next morning, my phone started exploding. She called 12 times, sent 15 text messages, left multiple voicemails. I didn't listen to any of them. I didn't block her either. I just let it ring. The messages kept coming. At first, she sounded confused. "Where are you? Did you go back to the room? Are you really that upset?" Then she started defending herself. "You're overreacting. I can't believe you just left. Everyone thinks you're being ridiculous." By noon, the messages turned desperate. "Please call me back. I'm sorry, okay? Tell me where you are." I was at home. Our home. The apartment in Madrid we'd rented for 3 years. I had gotten in around 1 in the morning, slept a few hours, then woke up to see her emotional unraveling in my notifications. I made coffee, sat on the back porch, and didn't reply to a single message. Around 2 in the afternoon, Alvaro texted me. "Hey man, she's going crazy. Says you left Marbella. Is that true?" I replied, "Yes. I went home. Everything's fine. The trip just ended for me." He didn't press further. Alvaro was good like that. He sent a thumbs up emoji and that was it. But Isabel didn't get the message. By evening, she had called 23 times and left voicemails I still hadn't listened to. She sent text after text, trying to explain, justify, guilt trip, whatever she thought might work. Nothing worked. I had nothing to say. She had made her choice on that beach. I had made mine. The conversation was over before it even began. The next day I did something I should have done long ago. I called a lawyer, not someone expensive or fancy, just a straightforward attorney named Mr. Navarro who specialized in divorces and didn't waste time. I explained the situation calmly and precisely, the way I would outline an architectural project. He asked a few questions and didn't seem surprised by any of it. He said he would draft the documents and we would move forward from there. Simple, efficient. That afternoon, I went to the bank. We had a joint account. I didn't empty it. I wasn't trying to hurt her. I just transferred exactly half of the balance into a new account I had opened it. Her half I left untouched. Then I called our landlord. Our lease was month to month. I told him I'd be moving out by the end of the month and asked if he would remove my name from the lease if she wanted to stay. He said he'd discuss it with her when she returned. I was simply being efficient. 2 days later, Isabel returned to Spain. I knew because Alvaro texted saying their group flight had landed at noon. She didn't come home right away. I guessed she went to a friend's place first, probably hoping someone could talk sense into me. She finally arrived around 6 in the evening. I heard her car pull into the driveway, heard her keys fumbling with the lock. I was sitting at the kitchen table working through some client emails on my laptop. She walked in, saw me sitting there, and stopped cold. She looked exhausted, her hair still messy from travel, her eyes swollen and red. She left her suitcase by the door and just stared at me, waiting for me to say something. I didn't. She finally broke the silence. "So you really did it. You just left without saying a word." I closed my laptop and looked at her. "You told me to go home." "I went home. That's not what I meant." "That is exactly what you meant." She shook her head. "You're being childish. I just let a guy put sunscreen on me, that's it. You're making such a big deal out of nothing." I leaned back in my chair. "You spent 3 hours with him. You ignored me. You ignored our friends. When I asked you about it, you mocked me to my face. Then you told me to go home if I had a problem. So I left. I didn't think you'd actually do it. That's the problem right there," I said. You didn't think I would. You thought I'd just sit there and take it." She opened her mouth to argue, then closed it again. She looked around the kitchen, noticing things were different. Some of my belongings were already packed into boxes in the hallway. "What are you doing?" "Moving out." Her face went pale. "You're joking." "No." "Over sunscreen?" "It's about respect. You have none for me. I'm done." "This isn't right," she said. She tried to argue. She tried to cry. She tried to blame me for being insecure, for overreacting, for ruining the trip. I let her finish. When she was done, I stood up, walked past her, and went to the bedroom. I had 2 more boxes to pack. I'd be out by the weekend. She didn't leave that night. She slept on the couch instead. I didn't argue. I just closed the bedroom door and kept packing. After all, it was still her place until the end of the month. The next morning, I woke to the smell of coffee and breakfast. She had made eggs, bacon, toast, a full spread laid out on the table. When I walked into the kitchen, she was standing by the counter, watching me. "I made breakfast," she said quietly. I thought maybe we could talk. I poured myself a cup of coffee. "There's nothing to talk about. I've contacted a lawyer. The papers should be ready by next week." She froze. "You contacted a lawyer?" "Yes." "Without even trying to work things out?" I sat at the table but didn't touch the food. "There's nothing to work out. You disrespected me in front of our friends. You told me to leave. I left. Now I'm filing for divorce. That's it. Just like that simple, after 4 years of marriage. You made our position quite clear." She sat down across from me. Her hands were trembling. "I made a mistake, okay? I wasn't thinking. I was just having fun. I didn't realize how it would look." "You knew exactly how it would look. That's why you said what you did when I walked over." "I was embarrassed. You were acting jealous in front of everyone." "I wasn't jealous," I said. "I was watching my wife ignore me for 3 hours while flirting with some stranger. That's different." She started to cry, not loudly, just silent tears sliding down her face. "Please don't do this. We can fix it. We can see a counselor." "I'm not interested in counseling." "Why not?" "Because I don't want to fix it. I want to leave." That hit her hard. She wiped her face with her sleeve and stared at me like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. "You don't mean that." "I do." She stood up and walked over to me, trying to place her hand on my shoulder. I moved away. She pulled back like I'd slapped her. "Don't touch me. I'm your wife." "Not for much longer." She stood there staring at me for about a minute. Then she went to the couch, grabbed her phone, and made a call. I heard her talking to someone, probably her mother or a friend. I didn't care. Over the next few days, she tried everything. She apologized in 100 different ways. She cried. She promised it would never happen again. She even suggested we take another trip and start fresh. I refused it all. Then her mother showed up. I was loading another box into my truck when a silver SUV pulled up. Her mother got out and walked straight toward me without even bothering with a greeting. "I hear you're divorcing my daughter over something that happened on vacation." I closed the truck's tailgate. "That's between her and me." "She's heartbroken. She made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. She's an adult. She knew what she was doing. You're ruining a marriage over one bad day." I looked her mother directly in the eye. She told me if I didn't like what she was doing, I should go home. So I went home. Now I'm moving out. If she's upset about it, she should have thought about that before she said those things. Her mother tried to make me feel guilty. Tried to tell me I was overreacting. Tried to say that marriage is about forgiveness. I let her finish. Then I got in my truck and drove to Home Depot for more boxes. An hour later, when I returned, her mother's car was gone. Isabel was sitting on the front steps with her phone in her hands. She didn't look up as I walked past her. That weekend, Alvaro called me. "Hey man, just checking how you're doing. I'm good, just finished moving. She's been calling everyone from the trip trying to get them to talk to you. I figured as much. For what it's worth, most of us saw what happened. She was way out of line. I appreciate you saying that. Need help moving stuff? I'm good, almost done. All right, let me know if you change your mind." I didn't change my mind. By Sunday night, all my things were either in my truck or stored in a warehouse outside the city. I handed my keys to Isabel, told her the landlord would contact her, and left. I stayed with my brother for a week while I looked for a new place, a quiet, one-bedroom apartment in Madrid. It wasn't big, but the space was well designed with good natural light. As an architect, I appreciated those things. I didn't need much. The divorce papers were delivered on Tuesday of the following week. Mr. Navarro had them sent to my new address. I signed them the same day. He said he would file them with the court and serve them to her by the weekend. She called me 3 times that day. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail begging me not to go through with it. I deleted it before it finished playing. Thursday afternoon, she received the papers. I knew because my phone exploded with messages again. This time, they weren't sad, they were angry. "So you're really gonna do this? You're really gonna divorce me over this? I can't believe you. You're so cold-hearted. Everyone says you overreacted." I didn't reply. I was working, finishing a project for a client. Work kept me busy, and that helped. Less time to think about everything. That night, she showed up at my new apartment. I don't know how she got the address. Probably asked Alvaro or someone else. She knocked on the door around 8. I opened it, but didn't invite her in. "What do you want?" "I want to talk. We have nothing to talk about. Please, just give me 5 minutes." I looked at her. She looked terrible. Hair disheveled, no makeup, eyes swollen and raw. I felt a flicker of pity, but then I remembered her on that beach, smirking at me, telling me to go home. "No." "Please? You should go. I love you." I didn't respond. I just closed the door. She stood outside for several minutes. I could hear her crying through the door. Then I heard her footsteps walk away. Her car started and drove off. I sat back down on the couch and finished the beer I'd been drinking. The room was quiet, peaceful even. It was the first time in weeks I felt like I could breathe. The next 2 months were quiet. The divorce moved forward smoothly. No major complications. Spanish law requires a 60-day waiting period after filing. So aside from waiting, there wasn't much for me to do. I focused on work, took on some extra projects, and lived alone. Isabel tried to contact me a few more times. She sent long emails that I glanced at, but never replied to. She showed up at my brother's house once, thinking I still lived there. He told her I'd moved and didn't give her my address. She tried to add me on social media. I ignored it. Her friends started reaching out too. One woman named Blanca, whom I'd never particularly liked, sent me a long message saying I was being unreasonable, that Isabel was a good person who just made one mistake. I replied with 3 words, "Not my problem." She didn't message again. Around the 6th week, Mr. Navarro called me. "Just an update, her lawyer contacted me. She's asking if you'd be willing to do mediation before the final hearing." "Why?" "She wants to clear the air, see if there's any chance of reconciliation." "There isn't." I told them that, but they're insistent. She says she's willing to do anything. "Tell them no, I'm not interested." "Are you sure? Sometimes mediation can speed up the process." "I'm sure, just get me to the finish line." "Okay, I'll tell them." He hung up. I went back to watching the game. The final hearing was set for Tuesday morning in late September. I arrived 30 minutes early, wearing a shirt and jeans. Mr. Navarro met me outside the courtroom. "She and her lawyer are already inside. Just a heads up, she may try to speak with you before we go in." I won't engage. Good. Let's keep it simple. We walked in. She was sitting on a bench in the front row with a woman in a gray suit, her lawyer. When she saw me, she stood up. She had lost weight. Her face looked thinner. She was wearing a dress I'd never seen before. She started walking toward me. Her lawyer grabbed her arm and shook her head. Isabel stopped but kept staring at me. I didn't look at her. I sat on the opposite side of the room and waited. The hearing itself lasted about 20 minutes. The judge asked a few questions, confirmed we had both signed the documents, confirmed there were no children and no major assets to divide. Then he asked if there was any chance of reconciliation. I said no. She hesitated, then also said no. The judge signed the decree. It was done. We walked out separately. I went straight to my truck. Mr. Navarro walked with me. So, you're officially divorced. Thank you for everything. No problem. Take care. I shook his hand and got in my truck. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I drove to a barbecue place I liked on the south side of town, ordered some brisket and a beer, and sat outside eating slowly. It was a nice day. Warm, but not hot. The kind that makes you forget it's technically still summer. My phone vibrated. It was Alvaro. Heard it's official. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm good. Want to grab a drink later? Maybe this weekend. Tonight I just want to relax. Sounds good. Proud of you, brother. For what? For not letting her walk all over you. A lot of men would have compromised. I'm not most men. He laughed. No, you're not. Talk later. I finished my beer and drove home to my apartment, now filled with a calm I hadn't felt in years. I didn't have to walk on eggshells anymore. I didn't have to question my own feelings. I simply existed. That night, I received one last message from her, another long one. I didn't read it fully, just the first few lines. I know you may never forgive me. I don't even know if I forgive myself. I ruined the best thing in my life because of stupidity and carelessness. I hope someday you find someone who treats you the way you deserve. I'm sorry for everything. I didn't reply. I just deleted it and turned off my phone. The next morning, I woke up and went for a run, something I hadn't done in years. It felt good. My legs burned after a kilometer, but I pushed through. When I got back to my apartment, I felt clear-headed for the first time in months. I showered, made coffee, and sat on my small balcony. The view wasn't anything special, just the parking lot and some trees, but it was mine. A few weeks later, my brother invited me over for a barbecue. I almost said no. I wasn't really in the mood for small talk or questions about the divorce, but he insisted. So I went. The barbecue was great. His wife made ribs. The kids ran around the backyard. Some neighbors came too, all very normal. One of them, a woman named Elena, who lived 2 houses down, started talking with me. She was funny, easy to talk to. We chatted about work, about Madrid, about nothing important. She didn't ask about my divorce. She didn't even know I was divorced. Before I left, she gave me her number. If you want to get coffee or something, just let me know. I took it. I wasn't sure if I'd use it, but it felt like a new beginning. 3 months after the divorce, I was in a completely different place. Not just physically, but mentally. I had started running regularly, lost 15 pounds, taken on new clients at work. My bank account was healthier than it had been in years. About a week after the barbecue, I texted Elena. We met at a cafe downtown. She worked in marketing for a tech company, had a dog named Cookie, liked hiking, and complained about Madrid traffic like everyone else. We went out a few more times. Nothing serious, just dinner, movies, walks by the lake. It was easy, no drama, no games. Just 2 people enjoying each other's company. One night, we were eating at an Italian restaurant near her apartment when my phone started vibrating. I glanced at it. Unknown number. I ignored it. It vibrated again, then again. Elena noticed. You should get that. I don't need to. Probably spam. But it kept ringing. 5 calls in a row. I finally answered, more out of annoyance than anything else. Hello? It's me, my ex-wife. I should have hung up right then, but something in her voice made me pause. She didn't sound right. Not sad, not angry, just flat. How did you get this number? I called your brother. He wouldn't give it to me at first, but I kept asking until he did. I need to talk to you. We have nothing to talk about. I know. I just wanted to let you know that I get it now. What I did, how I made you feel. I've been in therapy, and my therapist has helped me see how selfish I was. I'm not calling to ask you to get back together. I know that will never happen. I just wanted to say sorry. A genuine sorry. Not because I want anything from you, but because you deserved better. Okay. That's it. Just okay? What do you want me to say? You called to apologize. I heard it. We're done. There was a long silence. Then she spoke again, her voice softer. Are you dating someone? That's none of your business. I know. I'm just curious. Goodbye. I hung up without waiting for a response, silenced my phone, and placed it face down on the table. Elena was watching me. Ex-wife? Yeah. First time she's called in months? Yeah. What did she want? To apologize, apparently. Did it work? Did what work? The apology. Did it make you feel any different? I thought about it. No, it didn't. Elena nodded. Good. That means you've really moved on. She was right. Hearing Isabel's voice didn't make me angry or sad. Honestly, it didn't make me feel anything. It was just noise. A few weeks later, Alvaro called me. Hey man, I ran into your ex at the supermarket yesterday. Oh, she asked about you. What did you tell her? That you're doing well. She doesn't look good, man. I think she's having a hard time. Not my problem. I know. Just thought you should know. He paused. To be honest, I think you made the right choice. Everyone does. What she did in Marbella was disrespectful. You didn't overreact. I know I didn't. Good. Some other people have said the same thing. No one blames you. It was nice to hear, but I didn't need validation. I knew what had happened. I knew how I felt. That was enough. Around Thanksgiving, my brother invited me over for dinner. I brought Elena. She got along great with his wife and kids. No one mentioned Isabel. No one asked awkward questions. It was just a normal family dinner. On the way home, Elena asked me something I wasn't expecting. Do you ever regret ending it so quickly? Like, do you ever think maybe you should have tried harder? I didn't need to think about my answer. No. She told me to leave. I left. She made her choice. I made mine, not a single regret. Not even a little? She smiled. That's attractive, you know. How clear you are about what you want, how unwavering you are about it. I just didn't see the point in wasting time with someone who didn't respect me. Most people would waste years doing exactly that. I'm not most people. She laughed. No, you're not. By December, I had completely moved on. Isabel was background noise, just someone I used to know, someone who made a choice that cost her everything. I heard from Alvaro that she had moved back in with her parents, that she had quit her job, that she was struggling to adjust to being single again. I didn't feel sorry for her. I didn't feel anything. One Saturday afternoon, I was at Home Depot buying materials for a shelf I was building when I saw her. She was looking at paint samples with her mother. She saw me at the same time. Her face went pale. She froze. I didn't. I just nodded, grabbed the screws I needed, and headed to checkout. When I was loading things into my truck, she came out alone. Hey. I looked up. Hey. How have you been? Good. That's good. I'm glad. An awkward silence hung between us. She looked like she wanted to say more, but couldn't find the words. I closed the truck's tailgate. I should go. Wait, can I say something? I didn't answer. I just stood there. She took a deep breath. I know I ruined everything. I know you'll never forgive me. But I want you to know I've been thinking about that day in Marbella every single day. If I could go back and change it, I would. I'd do everything differently. But you can't. I know. Then what's the point of telling me this? I don't know. I guess I just needed you to hear it. I looked at her for a second, then got in my truck. Take care. I drove away without looking back. She stood in the parking lot watching me leave, just like that day on the beach. The difference was, this time I didn't care. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I was living a completely different life. Elena and I had been dating for 4 months, taking it slow. Nothing complicated, just two people who appreciated each other and didn't play games. We went to Seville one weekend to see a football match. Ate at a barbecue place her coworker recommended, drank coffee on her balcony Sunday morning. Simple things. Important things. I also got a promotion at work, took on more responsibility, earned more, enough to finally afford a small house instead of renting. I started looking at houses in February. As an architect, I naturally had a sensitivity to structure and space. The small house wasn't grand, but it was practical in design. Every inch of space was full of possibility just the way I liked it. Isabel became a distant memory. Someone I once knew, someone who taught me an important lesson about respecting myself. Then, one Saturday in March, my phone rang. It was Alvaro. Hey man, just wanted to let you know your ex-wife got engaged. I was looking at paint colors at the hardware store. Oh, that's good. Doesn't it bother you? No, should it? I don't know. Some people would find that strange. I'm not some people. Who's the guy? Some guy she met at the gym. They've been together for about 3 months. If you ask me, it's moving pretty fast. Not my business, not my concern. Alvaro laughed. Right. Just thought you should know, in case someone brings it up. I appreciate you telling me. I hung up and went back to comparing paint samples. Elena wanted to repaint her living room. I had offered to help. We chose a light gray. That night, Elena and I were having dinner at her place when she asked about the call. I told her what Alvaro had said. How do you feel about that? I don't feel anything. Nothing at all. She's not my problem anymore. Elena smiled. You know what I like about you? You mean what you say. You're not the type to say you've moved on, but then secretly check your ex's social media. I deleted her from everything months ago. I don't even remember her birthday. When is it? I thought about it. Sometime in July. I really don't remember. She laughed. That's how you know you've really moved on. She was right. I had moved on. Completely. Totally. A month later, I closed on a small house in South Madrid. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a nice backyard. Nothing special, but it was mine. Elena helped me move in. My brother and his wife brought pizza. Alvaro came with beer. It felt like a fresh start, not just away from the shadow of divorce, but from everything. I had spent 4 years carefully navigating a marriage that was doomed to fail. Now I had my own house, a woman who respected me, friends who supported me, and a job I didn't hate. One evening in late April, I was grilling burgers in the backyard when Elena came out with her phone. You won't believe this. What? Your ex-wife just sent me a friend request on social media. I flipped a burger. Block her. I already did. But why would she do that? Probably wants to see what I'm up to. It doesn't matter. She'll find out soon enough that I don't care about her at all. Ines and on the porch steps. Do you think she regrets what she did? Probably, but that's not my problem. Have you ever wondered What would have happened if you had tried to work it out? Like if you had gone to counseling or given her another chance. I turned off the grill and sat beside her. No, because people don't change unless they want to. And even if she wanted to change, I didn't want to be with someone I had to beg for basic respect. Life's too short for that. She rested her head on my shoulder. You're right. We sat there watching the sun go down. Quiet, peaceful, exactly the life I wanted. In June, my brother hosted a birthday party for his oldest child. The whole family was there. Cousins, aunts, uncles, everyone. Elena and I came together. She fit right in. At one point, my mother pulled me aside. I'm so proud of you. For what? For knowing when to let go. A lot of people stay in bad situations because they're afraid or think they should stick it out. You didn't. You knew your worth and didn't compromise. Thanks, Mom. I like Elena. She's good to you. Yeah, she is. My mother hugged me and went back to the party. I stood there for a few seconds, taking it all in. A year ago, I had been in Marbella, watching my wife disrespect me in front of everyone. Now I was at a child's birthday party, genuinely happy, with a woman who treated me like I mattered. That's what letting go can bring you. A few weeks later, Alvaro sent me a screenshot. It was a post from Isabel's social media announcing her engagement was off. No explanation, just a vague post about focusing on herself. I felt nothing, just the quiet thought that she was finally tasting the consequences of her actions. That same week, I took Elena to the coast for a long weekend. We stayed in a little beach house in Porto. It was her first time seeing the bay. On our last night there, we sat on the beach watching the waves. She turned to me and said something I wasn't expecting. I think I'm falling in love with you. I looked at her. Yeah? Is that okay? More than okay, she smiled. Good, because I was a little worried you weren't ready for a serious relationship after everything with your ex. I'm ready. I've always been ready. We stayed on that beach until midnight. When we finally walked back to the house, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Certainty. Not hope, not possibility. Not maybe, just certainty. This was right. She was right. And I didn't need to question it. By the end of summer, Elena had practically moved into my house. She still kept her apartment, but most of her stuff was at my place. Her dog, too. It felt natural. No pressure, no drama. One Saturday morning, we were having coffee on the back porch when she asked me a question. Do you ever think about that day in Marbella? Like, do you ever wish it hadn't happened? I thought about it. No. Because if it hadn't happened, I might still be married to someone who didn't respect me. That day showed me clearly who she was. I'm glad it happened. No regrets? Not a single one. She did me a favor. Elena laughed. That's one way to look at it. It's the only way to look at it. She reached out and took my hand. I'm glad you left that beach. So am I. We sat there quietly, watching the morning light rise over the fence. Life was simple. Life was good. And I never looked back.